In this video, I'll be talking about using AI chatbots to draft report paragraphs. And this is an excerpt from the Research Like a Pro office hours session we had in February 2024. And this is kind of a new way that I had been using ChatGPT and Claude to work on drafting sections of my research report. So hopefully some of these tips can give you ideas for how you might possibly want to incorporate using AI tools into your workflow as you write research reports to help you become more efficient and take some of the difficulty out of drafting paragraphs. And then after you draft them, you can edit them however you'd like. So this is from February of 2024, and I hope you enjoy this excerpt from Office Hours. My next tip is about using AI chatbots to help you draft report paragraphs. So just a little background, artificial intelligence chatbots are very good at language. They are called large language models, LLMs. So they might be helpful with some of your writing. And sometimes when I just am feeling a little stuck, I just chat with the chatbot about what I want to say, and that gives me some more ideas and helps get the wheels turning. So that's why I use the word draft. It helps you get started, but I usually don't use exactly what the chatbot gives me. I like to make it my own. So it's a good way to get started. So the way that the chatbots work, and I know a lot of you have tried with chatbot, ChatGPT and whatnot, and some of you haven't. The way that it works is that you tell it what you want, and then it gives you something, and then you can revise that or give it another prompt to tell it, oh, I want you to do it this way, or that was close, but has too many flowery adjectives. Get rid of those. So sometimes it takes several prompts to get the chatbot to give you the paragraph that you were envisioning. So then if you finally figure out exactly what you need to say to get the chatbot to do it the way you like it, it's a good idea to save that prompt to copy and paste in for future use. So you don't have to remember everything that you told it. What I did is I started an Airtable in my research log and I exported the research log table, just that one table, as a CSV file. And then I went over to my account in Anthropic to talk to the chatbot Claude, and you can create a free account there. And then I just pressed on the paperclip icon to upload my file. So I uploaded the CSV file of my research log, and then I put in the first bullet point here. This was my first prompt. These following 3 prompts were my refinements to my original prompt. So first I said, using the first row of this genealogy research log, write a paragraph with a footnote in Markdown containing the source citation field. And then I got the paragraph. It was okay, but I noticed it didn't include the information in my results column about the search terms I used. So I said, can you revise it to include that? So it did. And then another time I asked it to be sure to include the transcription of the record from the results column as a separate section to indicate that it's the transcription and it's separate from the researcher's comments about it. Because in my log, I'm really careful to put the transcription and the results and my own personal comments about that in the comments so that I remember what the record says versus what I said. And that's a genealogy standard. And then once I got going here, I realized that they were putting quotation marks and they were putting additional things in the source citation. They were putting the primary field description of the row and the source citation together to make a really big citation. So I said, don't do that. Just put exactly what the source citation field says and nothing else. So that's kind of how I did it. And now I'm going to show you. So here is my research log, which is the example data for the RLP with DNA template that I updated for this year. And as you can see, there's a description of the row, the date logged, the source type, the person's role, the URL, the website, the locality, the source date, the citation, the results, the comments, and over here we have the fan club and a couple other things. So that was the row that the AI chatbot was going to use. to write a paragraph. Now, in order to get this into a CSV file to put into the AI chatbot, we need to go up to this, which is the view information for this table, and click the arrow down and click download CSV. And it's only for the table that you are currently on, which is the research log table. You can do this for the timeline as well, or any of these tables, but we're just downloading the CSV for this research log right now. When that's done, you're going to go here to Claude and attach your CSV file. And this is the first prompt that I gave Claude. And so I typed it here, I attached it here, and then I pressed enter or send, just like you're chatting. So using the first row of this research log, write a paragraph with a footnote and markdown containing the source citation field. And so here's what it gave me. Here is a paragraph with a footnote containing the source citation from the first row of the research log. A search was conducted for Elam Hollingsworth in the Quaker meeting records at Ancestry, but no records were found for him. This suggests that Elam Hollingsworth was likely not a Quaker himself, but he may have descended from Quakers. Further research is needed to determine his religious affiliation. And then it gave me my negative search. And you can see that the citation has like two layers. I don't know why it did this, but it put the primary field first and then my citation second. So I did fix that later with a later prompt. At each answer with ChatGPT or Claude, you can click this copy button to copy it into whatever final destination your writing is going to go into Word or Google Docs. My next prompt said, pretty good, let's revise it to include information in the results column about the search terms used. So I wanted to include the fact that the search included first name Elam and last name Hollingsworth, exact, sounds like in SoundX, which yielded many records for William Hollingsworth, but none for Elam. So this is some of the text that I had typed into my research log, and I wanted to see if I could get the chatbot to include more. So it did that. Back to this sentence right here. This suggests that Elam Hollingsworth was likely not a Quaker himself. That was from my comments column, but it just put it into its own words. And then this last sentence here, further research is needed. That one was added by the chatbot. So I did not put that exact sentence in my research log anywhere. The actual thing that my research log said was something about how there was a family story passed down that he was a minister. So I was unsure what his religious denomination was. So it kind of revised that. All right. So next I said, great, now write a paragraph in the same style using the second row of the research log. Be sure to include the transcription of the record from the results column as a separate section to indicate it's the transcription and separate from the researcher's comments about it. So then the chatbot gave me this paragraph. Martha Keach was found residing in the household of William Keach in the 1851 census for Kempston, Bedfordshire, England. Then we have the footnote 1, which I thought it did a good job inserting that right after the sentence that is the information that is supposed to be cited. Then it was giving me quotes around that and like adding the primary field again. So I fixed that later, but it was pretty good. And then Martha was listed as a 5-year-old daughter, providing an estimated birth year of about 1846. Other household members included. And then it created this like code box because I did ask it to make a separate section. So that wasn't exactly what I imagined. I kind of wanted something like indented, but that was fine. And then that says, the census states that Martha and her parents, William and Anne, were born in Kempston. Now that sentence I felt like was an inference on the part of the chatbot because I didn't include anything about Anne, the mother, being born in Kempston. I did have in my results column that Martha was born in Kempston and her father was born in Kempston, but not Anne. So that was something that I noticed was kind of something the chatbot made a leap to, and they're known to do that. They're known to give you information that they add themselves without even telling you. So even though you're providing the source that you want them to use to make the paragraph, you still have to check it. And so make sure you check. And I did check my row for that, and it didn't say Anne was born in Kempston, but she actually was. So it was correct, but it didn't say that. So make sure you check. And that's one of the things I've learned from the NGS course about AI is that we always have to be the human in the equation and check the work of our chatbot slave to make sure that it's not doing things wrong. So the next sentence, her brother Alfred Keach is likely the same man as Alfred G. Keach, who later witnessed Martha's marriage to Elam Hollingsworth. That was taken directly from my comments column and my fan club column. And then this last sentence, the chatbot derived this from the larger scope of the whole research log. So it added that in without my direction. So this record provides family details and verifies her birthplace leading up to her 1850 census immigration to America, which was included in the log, but I didn't ask it to include that in that paragraph. So to refine that, I might give it the direction to do not include anything, no editorialization, and nothing outside of that row or something like that. Scrolling down, I said very close, but the information in that row did not say that Martha's mother, Anne, was born in Kempston. Be sure not to add any information, use only what's provided in the row. So then it rewrote that paragraph, which is pretty common when you're working with a chatbot, that it will redo things to make them the way you like them. Then I finally fixed that footnote problem. For the footnote reference, I want you to put exactly what the source citation column says and nothing else. So then it did, but it put these quotation marks around it to indicate that it was verbatim. So then now I told it later, do not put quotation marks around the footnote. And then I had it do the third row, and this was a land patent, was issued to Elam Hollingsworth. This one turned out really well. It was able to interpret the transcription from the BLM website, and it knew that this was a legal land description, which wasn't included in the row. So it used some of its knowledge from studying things online to be able to provide a little more information for me, which was helpful. And it says this was granted under the 1862 Homestead Act, which I did have in my row in the research log. That was taken directly from the BLM website transcription for Elam's land. So it did a pretty good job on this. I was happy with this paragraph. And in my comments, I did talk about how I needed to do future research to gather more documents about this, including his land application at the National Archives. Okay, don't put the quotation marks around the footnote. So it did that, it fixed that. And then continue with the next row in the log. So it wrote a paragraph about the 1880 census. It listed the children like this. I think my preference would be to have the children listed in a bulleted list instead. So I might have it do that next time. Instead, this time I just said, include a separate section with the exact transcription in the results column. So it did the code box again with the separate section of exactly what I had pasted into my results column. And this provides family details and migration information between their 1862 marriage. So it keeps bringing me back to this overall idea that they had the information before their marriage and migration and then after. So it's always trying to make these transition sentences or summary sentences. So I probably would just delete that. Okay. Can you compile all the paragraphs we've written into a Word document? I actually didn't know if it could do this. So I was trying to see how far can I stretch this? And so it said, here's a Word document. And then it just put it all together. So it did not create a Word document, but it did put all the paragraphs together. And then I said, are you able to export that to a docx file? And it said, no, I don't have the capability. However, I can provide the Word document contents in a plain text format that you could copy and paste into Word. And then here's the plain text. And it continues on to this page. And then there's the footnotes there listed that way. So I could copy and paste this into Word and then do a little bit of my own work to create the footnotes in Word by doing the Control-Alt-F and then copy and pasting these into the footnote section. So with that, I have created 4 paragraphs of a research report using my research log. And now I can go in and edit that, which sometimes it's a little easier to edit a report that's already been written to make it the way you like it than to actually drudge through the writing yourself. So hopefully this idea for drafting research report paragraphs with ChatGPT was helpful to you. And if you want to try it, then just get a free account at Claude by Anthropic.